Okay, Mayor Parker is Houston's 61st mayor and one of only 2 women to hold the city's highest elected office. As Chief Executive Officer, she is responsible for all aspects of general management of the city and enforcement of all laws. Mayor Parker was elected mayor and assumed office January 2nd of 2010, and Houston became the largest U.S. city to ever have an openly gay mayor. Woohoo! In 2011, she won a second term. In 6 years as a city council member, 6 years as a city controller, she's the only person in Houston's history to hold the office of council member, controller, and mayor. Among the many honors she's received, and there is a long list, Time magazine named Annise in 2010 one of 100 people who most affect our world. Ooh, wow. Annise and her partner, Kathy, just celebrated 21 years together. Congratulations. And they're advocates for adoption with 2 adopted daughters and a son. So please join me in honoring Mayor Annise Parker.
Thank you. Well, it's truly an honor to be here, and I thank you for the welcome. Rick, I enjoyed your story. I've been out for more than 40 years, but don't count too far. I've been out for more than 40 years, and I still find ways to come out. So it's not a destination. It's not a destination. It's a process or journey. And as my life partner of 21 years, I can't call her a spouse yet because Texas doesn't have marriage. But we're not out of the closet. We live out on the front lawn all the time. And that's just the way it works. I just got reelected to my second term. We have 2-year terms in Houston. We're the only big city in America with 2-year terms. 2 years is way too short for a mayor for the city the size of Houston. But I have to tell you that as someone who I was a lesbian activist in college. I was a lesbian activist as an adult. I was an officer or board member of dozens of GLBT organizations in the state of Texas and in Houston. I was still shocked by the response to my election. The election of the mayor of Houston doesn't normally make the front page of the Times of India, for whatever reason. I was a joke on the Jay Leno show. I was a joke on The Daily Show. I got a shout out from Rachel Maddow. That was very cool. I've been on Wait, Don't Tell Me. For those NPR listeners, I got a personal call from the president. Unfortunately, it went to voicemail. Okay, come on. He has a lot of people working for him. You would think that there would be somebody whose job it was to call and say, the president is about to call you. Answer the damn phone, okay? But I guess I'm old news now because I was just reelected this last November, and I didn't get a call from the president. I got a call from the vice president. I hate to think who's going to call me the next time. It has given me an opportunity to talk about my city, to talk about Texas. Actually, I was really doing a good job in changing people's view of Houston and of Texas, and then Rick Perry ran for president, and it just really messed things up. But I use the phrase coolness factor. I've raised Houston's coolness factor. And it has made a difference in how the rest of the world views my city. I absolutely believe I was the best candidate for mayor of Houston when I ran and won. But to the rest of the world, I was either the lesbian candidate or the lesbian mayor of Houston. And there was a lot of, Houston did that? I think there were a couple of reasons why I won. One is that, at least in the mayor's race, I was the familiar candidate. I had by that point been elected 6 times citywide in Houston, and the voters knew me. They knew I was a lesbian. They were at least used to the idea, if not comfortable with the idea. But I think the other reason that I won is that we do have, both in Houston and in Texas, a long tradition of supporting people, welcoming people for what they can do rather than who they are. What you bring to the game rather than who your people are. And from those, if anybody's in the South, you know what that means, who your people are. Houston is now officially the most diverse big city in America. I actually almost came to blows with Spike Lee a few years ago when I was having this conversation about which is more diverse, Houston or New York. And we both held our ground, but now officially, demographically, Houston has been credited as being the most diverse city in America. We are a cosmopolitan, international city of business, still dominated by the oil and gas industry. But we are also a city that is constantly looking to the future and taking every advantage we can of the opportunities that come along. I think there are lessons in my winning campaigns over the years in Houston for what we can all do in our workplaces. I didn't win my first race, didn't win my second race. But both of the losses taught me how to win everything else since then. And from the first race, and all my years of being out, being open and honest about who I am has been part of the public persona that I offer to the voters. And there's a strange dynamic. It's almost as if people do a calculus in their head and they say, well, if she'll tell us that, or if she'll be honest about that, she'll be honest about anything. And if that works, that's great. But the lessons for us as we seek to change our workplaces, and it wasn't mentioned, but I spent 20 years working in the oil and gas industry. Another fairly conservative place to be, and I know there are a lot of oil and gas folks. Come on, there's a few of you out there. Come on. Thank you. Houston. A lot of years in the oil and gas industry, and what I found, and in fact I spent 18 years working for Bob Mossbacher Energy Company, conservative Republican oil man. He had an out lesbian daughter who he loved, and many of you may know Dee Mossbacher. And I believe that the fact that she was out and open with her family ensured that he was respectful of what I was doing and my activism while I was working for him. Our honest approach to our lives makes differences for other people's lives, creates ripples in the pond, and more ripples in the pond. And as we continue to change the world, because you and I, those of us in this room, we have changed the world, I want you to remember a few things. We are not seeking equality. We are equal. We do not want rights. We have rights. Yes, there is an agenda. And that agenda is to end bullying of our youth, to serve our country with courage, to work with integrity, and to marry the spouses we love. We do not seek equality. We are equal. We have to assert that equality and educate those who don't understand it. Thank you.